Channel Train Station 2. Alright, finally, there's a long event coming on the 13th June all the way to the 3rd of July. Basically, you're going across all the metropoles of Europe, Berlin, Vienna, Paris, London, and lots of it. So, the map itself, you can see the whole of Europe is trying to link up to every piece of land you could find on the map. So, definitely the raw materials required here would be the rail sleeper and the tools that you can put together with the other materials that you have and make those factory materials for the events, so like rails buffer, signals, dynamite, and all right, so again, you need sleeper and two to steel. I think generally you need steel, nails, iron powder. All right, so these are the things you should need, and of course you're gonna make probably a lot of those rails because it's required throughout the other items. So you just take a look at this. So in terms of the event currencies, there'll be keys, there'll be EPs, there'll be coins as usual. Three contractors, and of course, as usual, focus on the first three competitions and try to win the 100 or basically those 1,000 coins. All right, so this is a beautiful legendary Steam SJF1200 followed by the P10 Epic Steam. Alright, so really interesting trains here, and of course there will be rare trains and a common train as well. This is a common train diesel, the class CC65000, and then as mentioned there's a rare 2TE7T, and I think there's one more legendary, yes, the CH S7, right? So one will be using the 4,000 keys, another one be using the 1,000 event coins. So winning 350 event coins from first for 3 times in the first 3 competitions will allow you to claim that legendary. For pay to win, you will get an additional train, which is the rare train you saw just now. Right, so now I found an old video to share with you more, so enjoy that video. Hi, welcome back to the channel, Train Station 2. Alright, managed to find out all the places of all the 12 European countries that we are connected. So I'll let you see a sneak preview of it. Alright, I hope you have enjoyed it. Basically, there are the 12 countries that we have all connected in this event itself. So really try to do a lot of research in finding out the different buildings, so that get me excited, and we'll show you a video about that. So of course, back to the routine in terms of the gameplay. We are in the 4th competition right now, so if you have seen my previous video, I started about 35 hours late and was have a rude shock. Apparently developer doesn't allow us to have this strategy anymore, so do not start that late. I'll advise you to start like 5 to 12 hours late at max, so try not to do beyond that. So here we go, I was trying as hard as possible. So as in the previous video, we managed to climb all the way from the last place all the way to the top 10. So in this video, that will be the end of this 4th competition. I'm really glad that I managed to close off at a higher rank that I was able to do so. So I really fortunate to say that as luck comes about, and also when we complete 100% of the event map, they're giving us 70 EPs for each of the jobs. So you can see here really very aggressive players that we have in this event, the 35 hours date group. This is the last group, so apparently we only got 18 players in the group itself. So I managed to join the last group thinking that it'll be easy, but unfortunately it has been blocked in terms of this strategy. So 99% has been blocked. The 35 or 36 hours late strategy has been blocked as well. So with that, it just means that we're going to work hard by starting slightly earlier than normal, try not to exceed 12 hours, and of course along the way this refinement in terms of methodology by the developer have urged you to work towards 100% completion as soon as possible. So with that, then they'll reward you with 3 jobs of 70 EP each. So if we have 70 EPs of 3 jobs, but the fact that given the fact the small train size, that would means that every job we do could easily take 2 to 3 hours. That context that's about the same as getting a 30 EP job, and so it's just a matter of who has the larger train. So that's it. It's really important to continuously collect all the gold and then eventually increase the train capacity. And of course, as you could gather more event keys, you could get those larger capacity event trains. I'm really hoping to get that epic train. I've already claimed a legendary and a rare. Once I claim that epic, then I work towards getting the common, which is the last train among the 4 trains itself. So I reached the last reward here. You can see Little Joe, a new epic train. So this epic train itself, we basically is a good addition. And of course, that's it. There are still quite a number of trains where we still haven't get our hands on. 4 legendary, 3 epic, and 2 rare. Quite easy to remember, 4, 3, 2. But that is just a matter of luck. If you're lucky, who knows, you may get lots of legendary. But for me, basically Russia is not a place that I've lucked in, especially in terms of getting those trains, and with that definitely has impact in terms of the competition ranking. Competitions really need large capacity trains and of course a large variety of trains types. So if you have more of the epic, rare, common or legendary, definitely that will aid you post 100% events, because there's restrictions in terms of the types of trains you can use. So you have, the more you have, the better you'll be. So they are really quite kind to me already by not giving me those legendary train requirement, because I only have 1 legendary train which I got from this event. So that's it. I really hope to able to get the second legendary train using event coins, but I think the chances may be quite slim. Yet I'm not giving up, because I really hope we'll get the event train, because that will allow me to have at least then 2 legendary trains itself. So having 1 event legendary train makes a lot of difference, because it comes with 40 capacity, which is really huge compared to the region's capacity train, which is slightly smaller. And with the legendary trains that comes on board, sometimes when they ask for example, region 6 without any restriction type of trains, then you have a 40 capacity to work with, and that would aid a lot as compared to those 4 capacity common trains. You're talking about 10 times the capacity, so that's really important. In terms of region legendary, there are only 20 capacity, so event legendary give you an additional boost of 20 capacity. And just imagine how much it will cost you in terms of coins and parts to upgrade from 20 legendary to a 40 legendary. So it is really important that you should get the event legendary by all means. Sometimes really, if you do have gems, please do spend them only during events. After you have upgraded all your factories, then you spend them in the event to get the legendary train, because that is really something that you should always get. And henceforth, with all these trains on hand, then you will make your journey smoother. in the current region. It is always difficult to start in a new region given the small number of trains that we have and a small capacity. What makes things worse would be definitely the warehouse spacing. Always advocate you to spend more time in investing into building your population so as to progress further and better. Do not rush to level up. There's no need to rush. This game is totally different. The faster you rush up, the weaker your foundation, the worse you become. So that's how, and I'm a good example for that because end of the day, my warehouse is extremely small for the level that I'm in. Hence, in competition, I tend to lose out because without the sufficient warehouse spacing, we can't really store a lot of items in the warehouse as compared to someone that has probably double or triple or even 5 or 10 times the warehouse size that I have. Definitely they can store a lot more of items in the warehouse, and definitely during the competition itself there's no need to worry about time spent in producing the items because they have all the items that could prepare beforehand and stored in the warehouse. I couldn't do that apparently because of course with the limited warehouse spacing. What I do to make it this short for is really to spend all the energy in getting the event items in the warehouse and then bringing out every single items from the warehouse into the factory input and output tray itself. So that's how I use the additional space in the factories as additional warehousing. So this is something so-called thinking differently, and of course more importantly how to maximize the use of your warehouse or in as well as your factory as additional warehousing. So all this, as I mentioned, as we see in the event, now that all they are connected, you'll see really interesting bits of the event itself. You can see every single building, and then everybody is connected with a very good transport system, the railway. And if you really want to take a look at all the places in this 12 countries, you can either by playing my video in the first part of it again, so that would be allow you to see them, and of course along the way you could pause the video and then just take a look at the 12 interesting places that they put that represent each country itself. So it's really fascinating to see all this happening, and of course with this a lot of time I must say invested in getting to find out which are the buildings and as well as which country, and getting the pictures in. So I hope you really enjoyed it, and of course you could give me comments and correct me if I've chosen the wrong building. Hopefully not, because I've been trying my best to identify the very small building in the game itself vis-a-vis the pictures and the identicality of the building, and then matching to the picture itself. So identification of the buildings are really sometimes a bit tiring because given the small picture. You can see on screen here, trying my best to locate the map, the world map as well. I mean where the place is, and henceforth which are the interesting buildings. So a lot of effort has been built into this video, and I really hope you could like this video as well as support me by subscribing to my channel if you have not subscribed. If you have already, thank you so much. So in this competition itself, it's not usual that I always try to get like the given the change in the methodology and the gameplay, I always try to get like top 5, but this is a bit tough because I started too late and the clock has been running before I joined the competition, i.e. People up front would have really run 3 or 4 rounds or even 5 rounds before I started. So it's really good that you should just bear in mind to start late but not too late, so okay, because starting 35 hours is definitely no good. And do bear in mind the developer basically have set a timeline that anybody who wants to join the competition, they must be playing the competition for at least 36 hours. So that's it. The latest you can join a 3-day competition is basically at the 36 hour itself. So I time it correctly, and the 35 hour I join it, but unfortunately it is not doing as what it ought to be. The magic of joining the last group used to be so easy in the past, but now no longer. So that is the last experiment, and on the strategies that they're deploying throughout the game for the past 1 to 2 years I've played this game. So the other strategy I've deployed is the 99%, which no longer works given this is the first time. The methodology has been different. We are trying to encourage players to complete 100% and reward you with bigger EPs. So with all this, in the next competition, usual, I'll be preparing items, but at the same time I will not be starting too late, and hopefully we can get more event keys to exchange for both the epic train as well as the common train. And last but not least, hopefully we could get good placing in the competitions for the last two competitions, and we can get the 1000 event coins eventually. But of course, fingers crossed, everything could change along the way, and by now almost all should have reached 100%. Alright, thank you for watching this video, and wish you good luck in the upcoming two competitions left before we end this fantastic event. Alright, I've claimed the last 8th place. Alright, thank you for watching, and goodbye.